Michael, can you hear me now?
I can hear.
Yep, I can hear you, Russ.
Yep.
Michael, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you, Russ.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Yeah.
So,
I think if
Yeah.
you've got that Google Meet thing going, sometimes I think it takes the audio or the video away from the Zoom. So I had to close out of that other window, even though that.
yeah, so it was pretty bizarre and stuff there. Yeah, it worked great this morning. So, so
Yep, I can hear you too. You're good to go.
okay, all right. Well, thank you. So, we're in one meeting and jumping in and stuff out of the other one. So, uh, so let's see who we got here. All right, I'd like to thank everybody. Our apologies for being a couple of minutes late and stuff. We were in another meeting here, but we'll get started here really quick. We'll do some introductions here. I don't the only one, Mr. Newman, in that. I see you here in that. If you want to introduce yourself really quick and stuff, and that we can go from there.
Sure. Good to see you, Russ. Mike Newman. We have met
Yep.
over in Natarita a time or two at the Western Small Mining Association meetings over there. And I am a consultant for the mining industry. One of my clients has a number of the DOE leases over on the West Slope. And I also am a member of the Western Small Miners Association, but I'm not officially repping them at this point, just a member.
Okay, very good. Thank you. And we'll go around the horn and stuff here and stuff in that. Obviously, I'm Russ Means and stuff. I'm the director and stuff in that for the minerals program and the active mines. We have Michael Cunningham is our director. Mike,
Good afternoon. Great to see everyone.
Yeah. And we have Elliot Russell is a staff member and stuff who's been heavily involved in stuff in that with our rulemaking. Elliot.
Nice to see you all.
Yeah. Jeff Fugate is the counsel and stuff, the AG counsel and stuff for the division. And there, so thanks, Jeff. Mr. Ekman is president of the CMA. So,
thank you, Russ.
Yep, Jim Sanderson is a representative and stuff for CMA, as well as Jim, I'll let you tell everybody who you're representing. So,
well, I'm vice chair of the board of CMA and chair of the Government Affairs Committee, and I signed the pre-hearing statement that asked for CMA party status. So, thanks for bringing us together, Russ.
You bet. We have Miguel Hemmerich from Climax. Miguel, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, Miguel Hammer. I'm the environmental manager for the Henderson operations and just kind of representing Climax Molybdenum Company.
Very good. All right. And last but not least, we have Mr. Rich Ziegler. Ziggy, you want to let everybody know you're here?
Well, am I on now?
You are on now. Well, we have audio. We don't have video.
Yeah, I'm not there yet. I just got in. This is Ziegler, IPR, and I have other associations I deal with, ISO, Pure, and a variety of other groups. So been working with CMA and Sam, Jim, and Adam. So there you go.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's everybody on the list. So we have the roll call and stuff in that for the record. we'll jump in. I did send out an agenda and stuff for that for today. Like I said, it's tentative and stuff, so we can go with the flow with however we want to go with this meeting and stuff today. This is the first of two scheduled meetings, and if we need to have any other additional meetings between now and either February 4th or the board meeting and stuff, and that's not an issue. So we can certainly have further discussions and stuff, and that's part of our process. So. One of the things that I want to bring to everybody's attention and stuff is the deadline and stuff for submitting formal written comments to the division and to the board was December 10th of 2025. CMA did submit comments, and what was more important, well, not more important, but importantly and stuff is that there was no other comments and stuff submitted. So as you can tell from the list of participants and stuff there, we haven't had any participation since the informal process when it comes to other outside entities. So one of the things and stuff that we were in a meeting in earlier that we probably will continue on with and stuff is some discussions and stuff on some of the CMA comments. But first and stuff, I want to open it up and see if there are other issues and stuff that based on the proposed rules and stuff, are there, other than the comments that were submitted, are there any other issues and stuff that the divisions needs to be aware of and that we need to discuss and stuff as we move forward? In the rulemaking is something that's come up and stuff that we feel we need to discuss. So I guess and stuff, I'll bring that up to Rich and Mr. Newman and stuff in that. Is there anything and stuff that you guys are would like to discuss and stuff that wasn't submitted in any kind of written form or anything that we need to cover today?
Are we going to be going through the proposed rule changes? I saw a reference to the live rules would be up. I just had a couple of comments mostly related to definition, and they may be something that's already covered in Adam's comments, which I apologize I have not read.
Okay, that's fine. The live rules and stuff that will actually be during the actual board hearing itself. So in that, and I didn't make that clear and stuff in that when I was putting this together really clear. So, but yeah, during the regular board meeting and stuff in that in February, that's where we'll have the live board and stuff that. But if you have issues and stuff in that, or have some questions and stuff in that for clarifications and stuff, this is your time and stuff to do so and stuff. So feel free and stuff to fire away. So yeah, in that. So we'll let go ahead and what's on your mind and what can we do? What kind of conversation can we have?
First of all, I hope you're in better shape than the other guy, Russ. That's a nasty look.
Yeah, well, yeah, everybody else knows and stuff, I guess, and stuff. Well, maybe Mr. Ziegler doesn't know, but I tripped and stuff on Sunday on a piece of flagstone and stuff, and I stuck the landing rather well. So yeah, so I have a couple of stitches in my eyebrow and a sore shoulder and stuff in that. But other than that, other than my pride being broken, I'm fine. So yeah.
Sorry to hear that, and I hope you got a good score out of it.
Yeah.
But the one question, I'll apologize for saying that I'm kind of late to the party here. I should have been paying more attention during this process, but just briefly reviewing it before the meeting today, I was looking at the definitions, and specifically looking at the definition on page 11, item
Russ,
70.
would you like me to pull it up and kind of
Yeah.
navigate to help?
Yeah,
out?
yeah, that would be great. So yeah,
Okay.
so
On the version I printed out, page 11, item 70, toxic or acid forming materials. And Adam, I apologize if you've already addressed this, but keep on. Yeah, there we go. I think you just went by it. And
Oh, what was the number? I'm sorry.
inert material, toxic. I'm sorry, you did not. I was inert material caught my eye. There's a tie in there, but number
Toxic
7.
and acid forming.
And I was just a little concerned about what appears to me to be some somewhat vague language in that definition, specifically the third line, which refers to, says materials which contain detrimental amounts of metals. And to me, detrimental amounts is a pretty subjective term, and I wondered if that might be better tied to something specific like actual relevant water quality standards or some specific numeric standard rather than just having it be a definition that is probably open to lots of interpretation or misinterpretation.
Okay.
And my thought was that one suggestion could be that we could, rather than saying detrimental, which contain amounts of metals in excess of applicable water quality standards.
So Russ, real quick, I could this definition we didn't modify the language within it from previous versions of this rule. It was more or less to be consistent with how the words toxic or acid forming materials to be consistent. So elsewhere throughout the rules, it was referred to acid forming materials or acid and toxic, toxic and acid. So the intent of moving this here, while it looks like it's all one giant red line, if we do scroll up to 111, it came from this definition here, acid and toxic producing materials. And then to kind of supplement this, that all throughout the rules, every single page that references this definition is now consistent with saying toxic or acid producing materials. And then we also did the same within the construction materials rules. So just wanted to throw that out there as some background.
Okay, yeah, thanks and stuff in that. And so, and part of it, I understand and stuff in that, tying it to water quality and that, but there's also geochemistry and stuff that's involved in that. And I'd have to look and see. I don't know whether that definition came straight out of statute or not. So that's the question and stuff I have.
It's not statutory, it's all regulatory, but yeah, as
It's all
Elliot said,
regulatory,
it's
okay.
the pre-existing rule. I think this was probably the original definition going back into the 70s.
1990s, yeah.
So I'm not sure where that, which contain detrimental amounts of metals, kind of that vague term came from, but it's been the one we've been dealing with for a while now.
Yeah, a long time.
Yeah.
So, what I would request and stuff is submit to, if you can and stuff, send us the stuff for that suggested edit, if you will, and stuff of that of language and stuff for us to take a look at. And we also we'll have this pegged and stuff. We're going to take a look at it and stuff in that and see if there's something and stuff that we can do and stuff to clarify that. One of the things you're correct and stuff, it is rather vague, but that also gives a lot of deference and stuff that's there. But there's a lot of different definitions of what detrimental is and stuff, whether we're talking to DOE and stuff about some of their things versus BLM versus CDPHE. So that gets a little problematic there. And I think that's probably part of the reason and stuff in that where we haven't really touched that too much, but we'll take a look at it.
And sorry, I need to amend my prior comments. There is a statutory definition of acid or toxic producing materials, but the statutory definition is just that first sentence, that it ends at the acid or toxic chemical and physical characteristics. So the rest of it is regulatory language that was added years ago. So my apologies.
Yeah, that's okay. And yeah, I'd be happy to follow up on it. Russ, just a question for you, Jeff. And I realize it's a sword that could cut both ways. Is it a term that has created any problems for MORB in the past?
Not that I'm aware of. I don't ever remember kind of tackling what constitutes, if something rises to the level of a detrimental material or not. Usually this comes up in discussions of DMO designations or, processing facilities. I'm not sure we've ever really had to encounter kind of what the threshold is to trigger that. I think generally the sites we're working on, either because of the chemicals being stored on site or just the nature of the ore body themselves, I don't know there's ever an issue that there's not a detrimental amount of chemical constituents or something in the ore body itself.
Yeah, and you're correct in your assumptions and stuff. We generally and stuff, when we have had those conversations, that's what we have fallen back and stuff onto is water quality, Reg 41, 42 definitions and stuff for those. in particular things and stuff there. So in that, so but we may be able to tweak that. We'll take a look at it and see. But yeah, and but that's something and stuff that's worth discussion. So.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and then do you have other anything else and stuff on your list?
That was the only thing that's specific again with not having reviewed the CMA comments, which I should have done prior to the call. So
Okay.
I'll reserve comments if I may for.
Okay, well, and we'll pick that conversation back up and stuff here in a minute and stuff too and stuff. So maybe that'll help enlighten you and create some questions and stuff for you as well. So,
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Yep. Mr. Ziegler, do you have any comments or issues and stuff in that you wish and stuff to bring to the stakeholders and stuff at this point?
Yeah, the only thing I have, and it was brought up by the CMA, actually Jim Sanderson brought it up. It had to do with financial assurance and securities. It's Rule 4. I read it again this morning, but Russ, take your DRMS hat off without looking at the rules and all that thing that guy's going through, and he's very good. Elliot's very good. But
I can pause if you'd like.
I looked at the financial issues, and I really didn't have a problem. However, if you and I were going to go out and fix a property for Jeff, and it wasn't much of anything, just say it was a couple of grand worth of work, how does that work in? I mean, how does that work in with that financial assurance stuff? Do we have to go through all that paperwork, and does somebody like you and I have to go in and just take care of a little problem for Jeff? I mean, that's how we think in the mining group. We don't really look at the rules of buying.
Yeah, you don't follow the rules. Is that what you're saying?
I just go in and Jeff got a problem, I'll fix it, So I just want your thoughts on it.
Okay, well, this was we had a quick discussion on this and that's fine and stuff. One of the things and stuff that was suggested and stuff is like a fixed amount and stuff and that for financial warranty and that, and that's problematic and stuff for operators in that, if you will. It's also problematic for the division and stuff. Part of it and stuff is that, like for NOIs, it says $2,000 an acre or as determined by the office. And so in a lot of our projects and stuff, and that $2,000 an acre doesn't cover it. And so I would say out of 90% of them, that cost and stuff is higher in that than that 2,000 an acre, because that $2,000 an acre was established back in the 1990s, if you will.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and if you really look at what our actual costs are per acre for reclamation, it's double or even triple that and stuff, depending on the situation. Because of this type of permit, it's a scoop and go in that. We're thinking of stuff that we understand, and it's part of our goal and stuff too, and stuff is to keep the overall cost down. So if we, if we set a certain amount for reclamation and stuff per acre or something, then that locks it in. We do have some NOIs and stuff that are over bonded, but that's because it says the minimum is $2,000 an acre. And so we have some projects and stuff out there that are not doing, they're doing exploration and stuff in that, but their disturbances are so light that they're not really creating a big disturbance. So the amount, it costs more to mobilize than it does and stuff to do the reclamation. And most of the time the stuff, the drillers and stuff, they'll backfill that in and stuff and do things and stuff and that cost is down. So for us and stuff, that by statute there has to be a bond in place to issue a permit. And that, so what we want to do and stuff in that is we're hoping and stuff in that is just to leave it site specific. One of the things we're working on and stuff in that is an application that has some drop down, like suggested seed mixes for different elevations and stuff, so that and different reclamation techniques that kind of help control that cost, and also and stuff and that try to minimize the over. We're not going to build a putty green and stuff out in Natarita, right, and stuff up along Mesa or something. So we want to be able to have the latitude and the discretion and stuff in that to help get something and stuff established and stuff after the material is removed, but not necessarily and stuff like I said. We want the best success possible, but we don't need and stuff to have a Cadillac plan and stuff there. So that's what our thinking is. That's in the application form that we're putting together, starting to form and stuff in that and stuff in that. Those are the kind of things that we're looking at. So does that kind of answer?
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. So
Okay. So
no problem.
okay.
That's it. That's all we gave
Okay.
all of our comments to CMA. So.
Yeah, and since you're involved in CMA and that, and Mr. Newman and stuff, and that might be as well as, and that we did just had a pre-meeting and stuff with CMA just to go over some of their comments and stuff that were received, and I think we can kind of is it okay and stuff, Mr. Sanderson and stuff, if we kind of open it up and talk a little bit about what we did and stuff in that here previously?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So as I noted and stuff in that, CMA was the one, the entity and stuff in that submitted written comments and stuff in that, which we're really appreciative of. We were able to take a chance and stuff to sit down and take a quick look at these and that, and we are going to come up with, we have some suggested language for a few of these and a couple modifications and that. And then there's a couple of things and stuff in that are we have other things and stuff that we have to consider and stuff. So, but bringing this in front of the stakeholders and stuff is important. So, for CMAs and stuff in their comments and stuff in that, their proposal A and stuff was for, we were talking about SPC plans and everything. One of the things that we're doing in this process, and Elliot can help me out here and stuff, is it was really odd that 110s and one had some more stringent language and stuff than 112s, and that's both in construction materials and in hard rock. So one of the things and stuff that we're doing here and stuff in that is specialists and stuff are always looking at the requirements, but we're always looking at as a whole and stuff in that. So we wanted 110s and 112s to be required to have some of the same basic information. 110s are smaller, but but it was really weird that they had some more stringent requirements than 112s. So we're trying to make that more have more continuity and stuff between the two types of applications, and so the proposed language and stuff that CMA has and stuff in that. For the most part and stuff in that, there's not an issue and stuff with the SPC plans and stuff, except for, from our perspective, we're looking at this as new. This is the requirements and stuff in 6.33, 6.4. These are requirements and stuff for a permit application. So there is some information and stuff that we need in a permit application that maybe a permitted site and stuff, and that doesn't necessarily have to, it's already taken care of. We're not responsible for SPCC plans, approvals and stuff and that. That's the most important thing. But what we are in charge of, what we're charged with, is making sure that we minimize the disturbance to the hydrological balance. So when we're reviewing an application, we need to know, are you going to be storing stuff on petroleum on site? What kind of measures and stuff you're going to be taking and stuff to protect the hydrological balance. That's part of the mining plan, part of the reclamation plan, and it also is part of our financial warranty reviews and stuff. If it's one thing and stuff, if somebody has a 1,000-gallon tank and a stock tank, it's another thing and stuff on a bigger facility and stuff where there's concrete line facilities, those kind of things and stuff. That all affects bonding and stuff there. So the proposed language and stuff that is out there that CMA has done, we're fine with that, except for a portion of that says that serves as providing information required under the section. And we will submit a proposed amendment to your to the proposed language and stuff for you guys to review. And that really quickly here, in that we'll probably try to get that out to you and stuff in that by the end of the week or the first part of next week, so that you have plenty of time and stuff to review that. But like I said, it's the most important thing is from our perspective, we're looking at a permit application. We're not looking at a site. And, part of our discussion and stuff here earlier was, SPC plans are always being updated and everything else. I think we're comfortable and stuff with the fact that those changes and stuff, if it's on site and it's the current plan, then we're good with that. And that we don't need that, we don't need to have that updated constantly and stuff within our permits in that. It just needs to have a current copy and stuff of the SPCC plan on site. And so we're going to look at some language and stuff that kind of reflects that, we get the required information that we need for our purposes and stuff for calculating our financial warranty bond and ensuring and stuff that, the protections and stuff are there and stuff is an EPP or something like that in a DMO. But on the other hand, we're not looking at stuff for having to have a updated plan and stuff in that every 6 months or whatever the health department requires or whatever and stuff there. So, Jim, does that pretty much cover kind of how we our discussions and stuff to that point?
I think that's what we covered, and we'll take a hard look at the language, and I think the CMA group's concern was that once you have your permit in place, your reclamation plan is developed, that you not have to keep sending every SPCC amendment into the division, rather to keep it on site so it can be reviewed if the inspector wants to see it. Russ pointed out that that's different than at the beginning when you're looking at an application and the division wants to have the total picture in front of it as to what the application would approve. And so perhaps providing a copy of the current SPCC plan with the application would suffice, but then the reclamation plan requirements would be somewhat different in terms of not having a detailed duplicate description of SPC type plan type measures. And so I think it sounds like we're on the same wavelength in terms of minimizing excess work that doesn't accomplish anything and minimizing duplication.
Yeah, and on both sides and stuff that, the division doesn't need to have, those minute little details and stuff are that on something that's not even part of our jurisdiction. We don't need to have those updates and stuff in that constantly in an existing plan, and that what we need and stuff is really upfront. And then if there are any major changes and stuff, obviously that's going to be a technical revision and stuff, and we're going to be reviewing it through that process and stuff anyway. So any other comments or anything and stuff on that? So, okay, then I'll move on to the proposal. We call it, well, on our notes and stuff here, proposal B and stuff, and that is for 6.6.3 parent K and L. These are all involved with the 110R. And so there's a couple of things and stuff in that to discuss here. One of them was regarding explosives, and the other one was petroleum products. One of the things and stuff that we discussed and stuff in that here earlier, in that there's a proposal and stuff, that a statement that either no explosives will be used, or then it ties it back into Rule 6.5. As I explained during the process and stuff of the legislative process, we had discussions and stuff with multiple stakeholders. And one of the big things and stuff about the scoop and go and stuff, there was concerns and stuff about blasting near houses or other things and stuff there. And we made it abundantly clear and stuff that that this was kind of a scoop and go kind of thing, and that no blasting and stuff would be part of this. Part of it and stuff is that the requirements and stuff in that for removing this material, you're bringing it back to the native contour. You should, if you start to go in and start to dig out more than what was just deposited there and stuff, and that then you're mining, and that shifts the stuff away from the entire thing of getting removing just what's been stockpiled and stuff there. So this is a hard line for us because of our commitments and stuff and that to get the legislation approved that there weren't going to be any blasting. So it's a statement that no blasting is going to be occur in that. And so as I noted and stuff, this is something we would have to go to the mat in front of the board and stuff on and stuff because of those commitments and stuff that we had those discussions on. There's no scenario and stuff in that we see and stuff where a blasting and stuff and that would be permissible and stuff under a 110R. If somebody wants to start doing blasting and doing other things and stuff there, then we need to look at another permit. And then as far as the petroleum products goes, when we first were looking at this and having discussions, we were thinking of smaller operators who probably run out and fill up their equipment and stuff out of the back of their truck and stuff. We also were concerned about potential spills and everything else on these sites, creating a bigger issue than what's there. But we also understand and stuff in that there may be a project or something and stuff where it may be more efficient and stuff in that to have 500 gallons of stuff on site or something like that. So we're going to take a look at this, and we'll submit to you all and stuff in that proposed language and stuff that something along the lines of a statement that no petroleum products will be stored on site unless requested and approved by the office. So that gives us and an applicant the wiggle room and the latitude and stuff that if there is a situation and stuff there, we could take a look at that and ensure it's a secondary containment or something like that. But that way there is that possibility and stuff in that. So So, is there any comments or anything and stuff and that regarding this issue and stuff and that with the?
No, I think that point is consistent with CMA's comments, although we had provided some language that was developed by our team that was consistent, I think, with what you were just saying, that if you are going to have petroleum products, you need to describe what measures you're going to take to contain, to protect the hydrologic balance, to minimize any disturbances associated with having the petroleum products. You'd have to have a plan submitted if you want to pull a tank out there and keep it on site. But we thought that, we're uninformed. Again, I think CMA's philosophy on the 110R was very similar. Rich actually said it better. It's, you don't want to make the program such that it's not worth anybody's trouble to even take a look at it. And because when it was first discussed a year ago, it was, we have an opportunity perhaps to clean up some areas that make them better after the fact. And so it's a balancing, and clearly the division has that balance in mind. But I think just we owe it to ourselves to come up with language that will work for everybody going forward.
You bet. And reviewing your language and stuff and that it may be stuff that we can we'll take a look at that and see, it may say the same thing in that I think we're both we're all parties and stuff are on the same wavelength and stuff as you put it and stuff on that on this and that. So we just want to leave the possibility and stuff here open and stuff for if somebody feels the need and stuff and that it's more cost effective and stuff to have, if their mining plan or their business plan and stuff and that is such and stuff where they can want to put fuel and stuff on site, then we'll have that door open and stuff for discussion. So moving on to proposal C and stuff, which was the revising 6.452G, and that we were talking about the reclamation plan and stuff and that. Some of the language and stuff that we're bringing into this and stuff actually is imported and stuff primarily from construction materials. it's something that's been in construction materials and stuff for decades in that. So it was interesting and stuff in that to have the discussion and stuff on this particular item. Looking at the overall language and stuff for CMA's proposal and stuff as we discussed, I think we're fine with that. The biggest thing and stuff is we're adding in the language and stuff that says unless otherwise approved by the board or office, and that way it will be after the 2A, yeah, right there and stuff like that where Elliot's got it and stuff that we'll add in unless otherwise approved by the office, and then there's a discussion and stuff in that where with wildlife with the irregular shorelines and stuff and that there was a proposal and stuff for where reasonably feasible shorelines should be irregular shapes. Our position and stuff is because we're looking at this from both construction materials, bigger sites, smaller sites and stuff for hard rock and that, we think that we have that covered under unless otherwise approved by the board or office. So we're proposing this stuff just to strike more reasonably feasible because we think we have that covered and stuff in that through approvals and stuff in that because it'll be site specific. And we're trying here and stuff in that to cover an umbrella and stuff of everybody as much as we can. And so there will be instances and stuff where it may not be reasonably feasible to do that. And we can do that and stuff in that through our normal review and approval processes. So we'll, as noted and stuff in that, we'll send you guys the proposed language and stuff that's there and stuff that primarily all it's going to do is probably strike that where reasonable or feasible. And it's something and stuff that it says the same thing. So I mean, if you feel strongly about it and stuff and that, we can have further discussions and stuff.
So I want to jump in on that, Russ. I think that I'm putting my lawyer hat on here because, the reasonably feasible language is in a separate sentence from the unless approved by the board or office. And so I don't think it might be a stretch to argue that the otherwise approved by the board or office qualifier applies to that last sentence that talks about irregular shorelines. And so the thought of CMA standpoint,
we agree with that.
Pardon me?
We agree. Yeah, we see that it's in two different sections, that the where reasonably feasible is tied to the irregular shorelines.
Yeah. So.
And I think the thought was that people that, and maybe it's probably the larger operators that might be having a larger water situation and being more steep and rugged terrain. And so it's a matter of what's feasible in shaping these shorelines. And we sitting here on this call, we can't speculate on what those features are going to be. And so I think from our standpoint, we wanted to have this sort of reasonableness or feasibility context in there as a matter of discussion down the road on a site-specific basis. And so ask you to take a hard look at that if you would.
We'll do that and stuff. And I see your point and stuff there, and we agree. As Jeff knows stuff, I agree and stuff that on my paper, so there's a comma there and stuff in that. So or look like a comma. So anyway, so
Hey, Jim.
we'll take a look at that.
Real quick on your on the CMA proposal, the comment letter that we received. So a lot of the background details and like the justification for the change was geared towards matching the performance standards outlined in Rule 3 with that otherwise unless otherwise approved by the board or office. But I didn't see too much justification for the second edit within that comment. So I'm not quite sure if we can supplement this so we can have a little bit better details on the background formally on CMA's proposal for not changing the shorelines for wildlife purposes because of feasibility concerns.
Yeah, we can amplify on that, Elliot. If that's what you're talking about, we could do it.
Yeah, that
the next week or two, or we could do it as part of the rebuttal or reply statement that's due in February.
Yeah.
But be good to get all these things hashed out so we know where we are when we head into the hearing.
For sure,
Exactly.
yeah. And I think like we totally on board with adding in this highlighted portion here that matches the exact language out of the Rule 3 performance standard. Adding in a feasibility concern with the shorelines with wildlife use is not covered in the performance standard. So that was more or less an additional edit that didn't have much background detail. So potentially, we can definitely evaluate additional language if needed.
And Jim, just maybe one more thing, just as you raise it in discussions. I guess my read of this, where reasonably feasible, is kind of just building in some additional discretion or the opportunity for applicant operators to propose to the division something other than irregular shorelines. I think that currently exists without this language. I think that if irregular shorelines based on a site specific pond aren't practical or possible, that's something that I think the operator currently has the ability to inform the division, hey, we can't do this. Even if it's a suggestion from CPW consultation process. And so I guess maybe that's something is that language necessary, or are you comfortable recognizing this kind of discretion or ability to provide that additional information already exists in the DRMS process? It'll be kind of worked through the adequacy.
Sitting here, Jeff, I can't respond because I don't know if elsewhere in the rule there is this broad discretion for the office to be able to deviate from a specific requirement, which this would be in a case-specific situation based on feasibility. If you've got some language,
I'll look and see. I don't know that we've got anything that's got specific kind of ties to feasibility other than in, I think, some of the introductory kind of proclamation language where it discusses economic practicality and those kinds of things. I'll look and see. And yeah, Elliot's highlighted the should, so it's not a shall. It's not a required thing. I think we certainly are interested in kind of the more discretion that staff and operators have to kind of deal with technical issues, the better. I think that already exists in these rules.
Well, I think it's been my experience that that's how the division is operated. I think that as we go forward in the future decades, and people on this call are no longer sitting around the table, it's better to have it clear what we have in mind as opposed to fuzziness. And so I think that's where CMA is coming from. And I suppose it's just a bit of caution on our side. The point that it says should and not must is good, but it's not as good as what we propose. So
yeah, and the other thing I want to be mindful of, as if we include that kind of language here, where reasonably feasible, if we expressly include it here, and there's other areas of the rules where that language is not included, are we now eliminating our discretionary ability because we've not used that express language elsewhere? It's kind of that classic statutory construction type of argument that I want to avoid. And again, I don't have any examples of where this does or doesn't exist. I think just generally.
Well, I think your point about a more general applicable section of the rule may be where we should look.
Yeah.
And I'd certainly be open to looking at or giving some work to devising an approach where the division is giving discretion to respond to operator pointing out the infeasibility and technical problems associated with any of the preferential requirements in the rule.
Mm-hmm.
So I would rely on you to help me do that.
Yeah, I'll start looking at the rules to find some other sections where we've got this kind of I don't want to call it ambiguous because ambiguous is a terrible term when you're dealing with rule makings, but discretionary language where it exists, where it doesn't. I just want to make sure we're not
That's a
tying
good
our hands in
point.
other
Good
sections.
discussion.
Yeah.
Great discussion.
Yeah, and I think it's stuff, look, Jeff, is stuff that, let's look at rule 3.1.5 parent 7 and stuff that talks about maximum slopes and everything and stuff there. So,
Okay.
and that, so I think that's a good starting point there. And in that language and stuff, it does talk about lakes and ponds and slopes and stuff in that approval and stuff. So, and like I said, it's just a quick glance and stuff there, but it may be something for us and stuff to take a look at there. So, but we will take a look at that and that. But like I said, the issue and stuff here and stuff is we're, you know, trying to be consistent and stuff with both acts and stuff and that, and some of that pretty site specific and stuff on some of this. But I think we can give ourselves some latitude and stuff there for both the operators and for the division. So, any other further discussion on that matter? No. The CMA's proposal D, in that is in regard to 6.64 1CI, and we're also making that consistent with 6.6.3B. Here again, this is where some of the requirements for a 110 and stuff and a 112 are slightly different. In that we're talking about estimated topsoil and everything. The biggest thing and stuff in that for a 110R is it's, and certainly Western Slope folks and stuff will understand this and stuff, is we understand that there probably a large portion of these may not have topsoil in that. So, and importing topsoil and stuff, that drives to the fact of stuff that's not practical from logistics, let alone a cost standpoint. So the language and stuff that's in there in that it talks about if there is any topsoil, we need to be able to salvage that and do everything we can. But after looking through some of the language and stuff that's there, I think that the language and stuff that CMA proposed and stuff in that is pretty close and stuff in that to what we have in mind and stuff. But we're also want to add in, and we'll, as noted, we'll submit the language stuff in that, and it's where there isn't any topsoil and there's no readily available topsoil nearby or that can be identified or whatever. Reclamation is part of the deal and stuff to do this, but there are techniques and methods and stuff out there and stuff to help augment what's out there and stuff in that to help establish vegetation. So I think that with the language and stuff that you have proposed in that, we'll take a look at that, but we'll look at maybe adding in alternatively, an applicant may provide details on how existing soils will be modified to create a substitute plant growth medium that supports vegetation establishment. So that kind of opens it up for a discussion and stuff of any kind of amendments, you know, whether it's seeding and mulching or in some cases and stuff, the soil may need to be somehow neutralized and stuff in that, but whether it's too acidic or too alkaline and stuff in that, that's certainly an issue and stuff out west and stuff there. But that opens up the ability and stuff in that to not import soil, but tell us the stuff what you're going to do and stuff to help get vegetation and stuff established there. And as we noted, we're not going to be building a putting greens and stuff out there. The idea and stuff is to remove this, make it better than what it was. So any vegetation is going to be better than none. And in a lot of cases and stuff so far in the conversations that we've had over here, several of the discussions and stuff have actually been about removing material and stuff from private property so they can build houses or do commercial stuff in that, which vegetation won't even be a part of that. So, but we want to be able to have the ability and stuff to have an open conversation about what are we going to do and stuff in that to help the seed and stuff get established. So, Is there any comments on that?
Russ, just wanted to, I don't know if it's really a comment, just kind of more of a question to kind of understand the intent. Because like when you look at a lot of these sites, there's no vegetation currently on those materials, right? They're rock, kind of barren. And so for an operator to come in and then remove that material, probably the um, economics are probably pretty marginal as they are. And it kind of sounds like what you're saying is the expectation is that then they make vegetation better. You actually add vegetation to a site that previously did not have any vegetation. And I understand, like, I mean, you don't want any kind of stormwater or transport of any of those materials and things like that. But is it really the intent that you want to then also have to somehow create vegetation where there's no topsoil available and where essentially that would have to be imported?
Well, yeah, the importation of topsoil in itself and stuff and that it's understood as stuff that in a lot of cases is going to be cost prohibitive and that and we get that, but there has to be some attempts and stuff in that to establish some vegetation and stuff on some of these sites. And up high up there, the division's always had the ability, unlike in coal, where they have a density. They have to go out there with and do plots and things, so that we've always had the ability and stuff to say that it's equal to or better than. And so I think on site by site kind of deal and stuff, it's going to depend and stuff on where it's at, what the aspect is and stuff and that. There's places and stuff from my own experience and stuff that we reseeded it, and it in 7 years it didn't hardly look like anything. While you go out there 20 years and actually it's okay. So we're not, like I said, we're not looking to build a golf course and stuff there, but there has to be some attempts and stuff, and that's some seeding, and that's what we're working on right now internally, is trying to come up with some suggested seed mixes and stuff that meet the intent of the legislation and stuff for pollinators, introduced species and stuff, and that is cost effective. Like I said, we don't need a Cadillac plan in that for this. The bar is not high, and we want to keep it that way. And I think that's the most important thing there and stuff is that we're out there, we're removing this material that is contributing and stuff in that in some ways negatively to the watersheds and stuff, and in an effort and stuff to prevent erosion and help establish and heal that scar and stuff, for trying to establish some kind of vegetation. And it may be, if it's so steep or whatever, it may be everything and stuff we can do just to keep it stable, and that may be the only thing and stuff we can do and stuff there. Vegetation may not be that, but we'll have to take a look at those and stuff and see how it is. But it is the intent and stuff in that to have some kind of vegetation, but the bar's not high.
Yeah.
And that, so.
Well, just something to consider. I mean, and just as you're writing the regulations to try to make that criteria incorporated so that it does attract potential people who want to do the right thing, that can and kind of meet those criteria without maybe the regulations then stifling that intent.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Yeah, it likes and yeah, I can go through and pick a seed mix and stuff like that that's going to be $15,000-$20,000 an acre, but that's not our intent and stuff here. That's why I think it's stuff, if with the staff that we have and the reviews and stuff that we have and stuff there, and that if we can come up with some economically viable suggestions and stuff, and that we think that at this elevation you have a good possibility of success and stuff here and stuff, and that we can go from there. And we've always had that discretion and stuff there is equal to or better than and stuff and that. So I think we just need to be able and stuff in that to help those that are interested in doing these type of projects and stuff come up with something that's feasible. So.
Yeah, and I think it's less about, I think the seed mix is probably that those are pretty marginal compared to the actual soil that would support some of that.
Yeah, and it's yeah, and it may be like I said, it may be just the application alignment stuff to bring the pH up or something like that and stuff. That may be the only thing we can do, you know, and that may be the end product and stuff in itself. So I think it'll be site specific and stuff, and we'll have to figure that out. So, but yeah, it's a point well taken. So.
Okay. Thanks.
So I guess I would just jump in and say that paragraph I, which is on the screen, is inconsistent with what Russ has been saying, because it says in the last sentence that you have to provide details on the source, location, and nature of plant growth material that needs to be imported. That's
Yeah.
different than you were saying that you're not going to make people bring soil on the site. And
No,
so I think you need to massage your language.
Well,
to-
and that's what it, we're going to have the proposed language and stuff that kind of that says alternately the applicant may provide details on how existing soils or materials will be modified to create a substitute plant growth, and that supports vegetation. So I think that
Thank you.
opens that up. Yeah, in that. So yeah, this is the red lines and stuff of what we have in that, and we'll make that note. That's one of the things and stuff we'll send for you for review. So.
Thank you.
Yep. And then finally, on CMA comments and stuff is issues and stuff with not issues and stuff, but conversations and stuff regarding parks and wildlife, and that and upfront and stuff. And that I want to that we're willing and stuff, and we'll actually have some discussions and stuff and explore having an MOU with CPW and that. And I say explores because we don't want to have an MOU just to have an MOU. We need to have something and stuff that's going to be something that's workable for operators, permit applicants, as well as both divisions and stuff there. So and anytime you get into those conversations and stuff, and that it becomes a process. So a couple of things and stuff that perspective and stuff in that I want to throw out there and stuff in that for CMA and stuff is that the CPW requirements and stuff in that there are consultations and stuff that are required pre-application. And the idea and stuff in that is to identify issues and develop plans and stuff prior to submission to us, so that this does not create two things. It doesn't create delays and stuff in our review process, but it also and stuff identifies any issues and stuff that may be a significant hampering and stuff to what's being planned. We had a construction material site that they were supposed to go talk to CPW. They didn't do that until they submitted their application. And lo and behold, and stuff what they were proposing and stuff that would have a huge detrimental effect and stuff to bighorn sheep and stuff up by Georgetown. And so it got scuttled. And that after they'd spent all of their time and stuff in that putting together an application and stuff, when that pre-consultation and stuff with CPW and stuff would have identified those issues. So it's really important and stuff that when we're looking at this, we're looking at these from an application review process and stuff in that. So they pre-consultation and stuff does several things and stuff for that. And where we do end up with delays and stuff is where there's not a pre-consultation or if a comment comes in and stuff from CPW. By statute, our review periods are set. It doesn't matter whether it's the another agency, somebody from the public or whatever. By statute and stuff, the comment periods and stuff are set there, and it's not what we've done and stuff in that. Well, way back in like 2005, 2006, they had some issues with CPW, so everything got sent upstairs. Well, by the time and stuff, the people on the ground, the boots on the ground and stuff, got the requests and stuff for comments and stuff, we were already we had approved an application because of the bureaucratic slowdown and that. So what we did and stuff is we worked really hard and stuff on getting contacts and stuff for the individual offices and stuff there, so that when we get an application and stuff in that, we send something off to CPW and stuff in that it gets right into the hands and stuff of the folks and stuff that are supposed to be there. Now, what they do with it after that, if they complain they don't have enough time, that's on them. But they have it and stuff as quickly as we can get it to them. So, uh, uh, um, so sometimes the stuff our hands are tied, and it's frustrating for us just as much as applicants when we're 3/4 of the way through a process and stuff, and we get comments back from any agency and stuff and and it's like outside of it, it's like how are we going to deal with this? So we'll look at the MOU aspect of this to see if there's something and stuff that we can do and stuff and that to help facilitate better conversations there. But also and stuff in that, we want to point out that in the rules and stuff in that, and this is one of the things that for a 110 versus a 112 and stuff, one of them said you need to do this, the other one said it's suggested. That's why we're saying you need to have the ability and stuff in that to go do pre-consultations and stuff with CPW. Ultimately, the comment and stuff, part of the comment and stuff there is that we're the decision makers, and that is very true. The board and stuff is, and that, but the division and the board both rely heavily on CPW expertise when it comes to those specific type of wildlife issues. So while we do make the decisions, 99% of the time we defer to protecting the wildlife and to CPW suggestions and recommendations. So it's incumbent upon an applicant and stuff to go talk to CPW prior to any kind of activities and stuff like that, just to make sure that they're not spending a lot of time and effort on something and stuff that could be scuttled and stuff because of a variety of issues and stuff like that. There's talks and stuff about wolverines. There's talk that, we have wolf issues. There's other critical habitat and stuff that's out there and stuff and that we need to be aware of. And some of it and stuff, even as a hunter and fisherman, I don't know some of it. The other day and stuff, I found out something and stuff that was interesting. So we have to rely on CPW. So we'll look at the MOU. But the most important thing and stuff there and stuff is we've done some things to improve things and stuff with how quickly we get notices to CPW and that. But in the end and stuff, it's some of that is in their hands. But we can certainly work and stuff on that. I think on looking at ways and stuff to facilitate better discussions and stuff there. So, and with that, Jim, you have any comments and stuff there?
I think your points are well taken. I think what I heard from the feedback was that there, especially the smaller operators, the question is, where do I go? Who do I talk to? And how do I get their attention? And is there a way to better outline your point about it's on the operator to do some pre-application consultation, and the question is where, with whom, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not a huge fan of complex MOUs between agencies because they are what they are, and if you had sort of a real simple approach, whether it was to and that the management of CPW was bought in on that you go to the local wildlife officer or regional, or they have regional offices, they have the area, and so I think it's just to try to a little roadmap almost, and I don't know if that's feasible because it takes time on your side and on TPW's side to think through this. People are busy, and so that's why we didn't propose anything specifically. We just thought that it was a good point that you made about consultation before you file the application, and so can this, while we're talking about this now, can the rule or can something be created that creates a roadmap for operators before they try to figure this out? And this is more of maybe a Rich Ziegler small miner issue, but big operators can figure this out probably. But we have a lot of different members in the organization, and so we're trying to be sensitive to all of their needs.
You bet. Yeah. And just quick thinking and stuff in that this may be an opportunity for the division and stuff in that too. We have a section and stuff in that on our web page and stuff in that's designed and stuff to help applicants and everybody. Maybe there's something we can work with CPW and stuff in that for some kind of a informational thing and stuff where if somebody's going to look at it, getting an application, there's a resource there and stuff in that to direct them and stuff in the right direction or something there. So, but we'll take a look at that. But I certainly have and stuff your notes, the points and stuff here and stuff that you're looking for, and we'll take a look at that. So,
Thank you.
okay. So, I think we've covered, is there anything else and stuff that the parties have and stuff that we need to talk about before we move on?
The only thing I think you touched on it when Rich spoke up about, is this worth it? The 110R, is this worth the effort? And that was the prior point that before the CPW point. And our thoughts mainly were that we just urge the division, and I know you're doing this, but just to emphasize the structuring this 110R in a way that makes it actually worthwhile or attractive. And I think you're trying to do that from what I hear. And so that was the reason we threw that in there, is to have the board be aware of it as well, that this is an important program potentially. But if the hill is too steep to climb, there aren't too many people who will put their boots on to climb it. So that's where we were coming from. And Rich, if he's still on, he may have some thoughts on that. But it this is in the financial warranty arena. But if the financial warranty and the forms and the applications and the estimates are so daunting for the operator, are they going to bother? And so I don't want to steal your thunder, Rich, so speak up.
Well, yeah, as you know, Reams and a bunch of those guys brought that up too, and you brought it up. And I don't think you get bothered by it, but it is a concern. They just say, is it really worth it if they have to go through this, all the paperwork? Your point is well taken also, Russ, on the issues on notification of other people. I run into this with the Anfield group a lot. And, we've actually had them stop and say, you got to do this, 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 and this. And we actually, I don't know if you work with Bruce Norquist, but I told him that guys like that need to get involved with this and help them out and things of that sort. But when you get down to the nitty gritty, people look at some of this, it's got to have some incentives for the local guys to step in and take care of issues. And that was brought up by several people, groups on, the question is it really worth it to go through this hassle to help? That's where they were going. Of course, you have to sit down and look at the whole thing. It takes a lot of time and attention, but there is guys out there that can do that. They just have to get them involved. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping and stuff that, it's our hope and stuff that we have, I think it may be the 110.2, it might be a 111B or whatever, but we have a fillable form that's real simple. It's got drop downs and stuff you go through and you click and it's pretty much done for you. This is really basic and stuff in that, being just a 110.2 application, and we're going to modify it and get rid of the we don't need the mining plan and stuff doesn't need to be more than just what you're going to be, scooping and going with estimates and stuff on material. Reclamation, if you're able to drop it down and say, okay, I want to do, I'm at this elevation and this looks like it's best. Here we go and stuff in that, and that make that as simple as possible. The fee and stuff on it is only like $288. and that. So the cost for the permit itself is not that big a deal in that. So we're going to be looking at ways and stuff in that to make it as palatable as possible. You know, the whole thing is of lifting the yoke of the DMO off of this kind of activity and stuff was huge in itself, right? You know, we're in that, but some of the people and stuff in that are that have talked to me and stuff in that are, yeah, they can scoop it up and take it to one of the, there's a few mills and stuff over here. There's none over particularly on the western slope and stuff now. Got somebody talking about doing a DMO light, if you will, and stuff in that, and putting a facility and stuff in a central location, and then doing these 110Rs and stuff in an entire area around Clear Creek and the casinos and other things and stuff there, and that, and they seem to think that that will work. You know, so there's a couple of different ideas and stuff out there.
That's
it's
good.
Yeah, kind of the same thing as I know with uranium and stuff and that. That was kind of the same thing as we got some permitted sites. You can go set up a facility, bring stuff to there and work on it and stuff in that in one particular location. Then you're just dealing with while you're dealing with some minor reclamation where you're pulling the stuff from, you have one site and stuff in that that's got the major environmental impact and stuff that's got a little bit more and stuff on it. But in that, so there's a couple of different business plans and stuff out there, and there's a lot of conversations in that. And so, but that's what we're working towards, is trying to make it as easy as possible. I can't make it, you know, other than saying no permit, and that's where by law. And so that if you're taking this material and you're selling it, then that crosses over that line and stuff of where you're in a mining activity. Where restoration, you just take the material and you bury it, cap it, or something like that,
Yeah.
and there's no economics and stuff in there, and there's no apple and stuff or carrot and stuff there to do that kind of work either, to just to do it and stuff as a good salmon stuff there. So but it's understood. So and we are.
I wrote down the word basic. I like basic.
Yeah, basic. Yeah, that's what we're going to try to do. And so that's the goal and stuff there is basics.
I trust you. I trust you. No problem.
Okay. All right. Any other questions or concerns and stuff before we kind of move on to a couple of other things and stuff here?
Not here.
Okay. All right. So really quick, well, not really quick, but we'll get into the more detail and stuff in this on our February 4th meeting. You know, we'll have an introduction of parties, and we'll have an overview of building the timeline and stuff in front of the board. And then at that point and stuff in that, we'll have the live rules and stuff up in that. And we're not going to go over every dotted I and crossed T in the editorial part, but we'll focus in and stuff on the issues and stuff and the major and the changes and stuff in that were brought forth either through the legislation or through our changes and stuff here, and also what the stakeholders have and stuff there, and we'll work our way through that. And it's our hope and stuff that, you know, we'll do a rule or two, take a break, and then come back in and do a couple more rules and just kind of work our way through that. So with that in mind, we do have another stakeholder meeting on the 4th. However, and stuff in that, when we have a to-do list of stuff to get some proposed language and stuff back to you and stuff in that in the next week. So we can have discussions. So if you would like to have a meeting before February 4th, we're certainly open to that. Maybe we send you the our proposed language and responses to your proposals and stuff here, and then we can determine that and stuff at that point and stuff there. So but be aware that, you know, we're more than happy and stuff to meet with you all and stuff in that outside of that final February 4th meeting. On the 4th, we'll discuss the stuff, the formalities and stuff of the hearing and stuff and that with you know, we'll Jeff will talk to you, Jim, and stuff about the if we need to have some kind of an agenda or a proposed hearing order in that, and we'll work through that. and stuff in that, and certainly not opposed to that at all. That way we ensure and stuff there's plenty of time allocated to all parties and stuff there. So we'll work on that so that we can get that squared away by the 4th. Just a couple of notes and stuff, since this is a general meeting and stuff and that, but February 6th is the deadline for non-parties to submit written comments to the board, as well as non-parties to request time to address the board. So that's out there on the public, on our website and stuff there. And also, it's any other materials and stuff that the parties wish to submit to the board for consideration, whether it's letters of support or whatever and stuff like that. Probably February 6th and stuff is going to be the deadline for that. And Cami will be sending out a Zoom link and stuff for this meeting, for the board meeting and stuff like that when we get closer to that point. And that, so with that, we'll send it, our responses and stuff to everybody that's on the list and stuff here today. And like I said, we'll commit to getting that to you by next week so that you guys have as much time as possible to be able to look at that. And if we need to, we can have further discussions and stuff. Does that work?
Yeah, so I think to answer your question, if we had something in a week or so, and then we met a week later, the week of the 19th to the 23rd, somewhere in there, that would be 2 weeks before the 4th. I don't know if that's too soon, or if we meet the week of the 26th, that's just the weekend before the 4th. But I think we owe it to ourselves to try to minimize any areas of disagreement. You know, I think we're inching pretty close together on a lot of issues, and so if we could get something calendared for a couple of weeks out, I think that makes sense.
Oh, that's perfectly fine, and Jim and I agree and stuff like that. The more stuff that we can keep working this down and stuff like that to just a few issues and stuff like that, and gaining that consensus and stuff, then that's great. We have board on the 21st and possibly the 22nd, and that at this point I don't think we will. So, but that week of the 19th is a holiday, so I don't make them, I just take them. And that, but we could certainly take a look at maybe the 20th, the 22nd, or the 23rd. Well, 23rd and stuff in that, we have the SMART Act presentation and stuff over across the way, so I'm tied up and stuff there. So we could take a look at something on the 20th or the 22nd in that. Does either one, actually the 20th would be the best, but we need to be able to get our responses back and stuff to you and stuff, and let you have enough time to take a look at it as well.
And I was going to say 20th, we've got the tourist mine rulemaking stakeholder meeting that morning.
Okay,
So we've just got a couple months of rulemakings here.
Hey, Russ, I was going to mention the 20th is actually kind of beneficial too, because for proposals A and C, those have implications on the construction materials rules. So if we can get an agreement with final versions for A and C, then we can at least propose those changes live during the construction rulemaking hearing, just so we don't end up with difference of rules between the two sections, what we've been trying to avoid.
Yeah, okay. It looks like if we have the rulemaking for the tourist mines and stuff in the morning and stuff, does sometime in the afternoon of the 20th work?
That works really good.
Okay.
I will be out of town in Washington the 19th, 20th, and 21st. If the 20th works best for everyone else, and it's the only time that works, you're in good hands with Jim and Miguel. But the 20th is unfortunately a date that I wouldn't be able to join.
Okay. Well, Jim and Miguel, what's your opinion?
I can do the 20th, Russ.
Okay.
I'm good.
Miguel?
On the 20th works for me as well.
Okay. All right. Well, I will. I'll set a time and stuff in that for say 1 o'clock on the 20th, and we'll schedule it for an hour and that and see where we go and stuff there. And at least in stuff of that, they'll give us a chance to get stuff to you, and then have you review it, and then we can have that discussion and stuff, and then that'll give us another full week or actually 2 weeks and stuff and that and stuff before we have the formal stakeholder meeting and stuff there. So in that, so with that, I'll make sure I'll send that out and stuff as soon as we're done here. So the 20th at 1 o'clock. Does that work for everybody? I think so. Okay. All right. Well, with that, I think and stuff we're good. Again, thank you all for your participation in this process and stuff. You know, the informal process had really dialed us down into what we're working on here. And like I said, the construction materials side in that last month and stuff, I did a quick presentation to the board on what they were going to be expecting and stuff as far as in general what a rulemaking hearing looks like for the division. And one of the things I pointed out was for something else and stuff, we actually had to take a look at somebody asked how many hours do we spend and stuff on rulemaking in a year. And for this one, between staff and stakeholders and other NGOs and other parties and stuff and that, we've already spent over 500 hours and stuff on that since last March. So that's an incredible amount of work and stuff and that in the informal process. And I think that's reflected in where we're at and stuff today. So thank you guys and stuff for that. So with that, I will adjourn the meeting and we'll get something to you, and we'll see you on the 20th.
Thanks, Russ.
Yep,
Thanks
you
all.
bet.